This episode is brought to you by Marshalls, where you never have to compromise between quality and price. The buyers at Marshalls hustle hard, working to bring you great deals on brand name and designer pieces. Because Marshalls believes everyone deserves access to the good stuff. Visit a Marshalls store near you or shop online at marshalls.com.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
Electricast.
It's very funny.
Coming of age story.
Kind of a psychological thriller, too.
Also an action film.
Rock and roll movie.
Romantic comedy.
I think there's something to that. I don't think that's totally a joke at all.
Welcome to episode 207 of Film Generations, where two guys from the 20th century select a classic movie to show a panel of young film lovers and see if it still plays for today's generation. I'm Mark Netter. I've been a filmmaker. I'm an instructor at the Los Angeles Film School, and I am CEO and co-founder of Electricast Media.
Hi, I'm David Taussig, and I'm so excited about this week's movie.
And I'm Grace Chapman, and I'm also super excited.
I'm Olive, and I just graduated from Emerson College, and I love watching this film. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Guy Lewis, and I'm a recent film school grad as well, and I am Jackson Flame's Sense of Rejection.
And now I want to introduce a special guest who we last saw on our Full Metal Jacket episode, Season 1, Christian.
Hi, everybody. My name is Christian. I am a cinematographer, graduated recently from LA Film, actually. And yeah, I am the local military guy for this podcast, and I am honored.
We're happy to have you. So it's hard to believe, but the film that we watched for this episode is now a quarter century old and is still the most recent movie that we've covered. From 1999, based on the novel by Chuck Palahniuk, screenwriter Jim Uhls and visionary director David Fincher bring us Fight Club. When an unnamed insurance adjuster with insomnia, played by Ed Norton, befriends Brad Pitt's Tyler Durden, a soap maker with anarchist tendencies, the two form a secret fight club designed to force a generation of neutered young males to embrace their manliness. But when the edgy Marla, played by Helena Bonham Carter, enters their world, identities begin to fragment, and the club seems to morph into an underground global terrorist movement with everything spinning way out of control. Now, a big spoiler warning, not sure how long we can hold off, but the twist in this one is at the Citizen Kane Rosebud level of importance to the story, so I'm sure we'll be discussing it. This could be a very short conversation, as we're not supposed to talk about Fight Club, but I'm going to say let's take the gloves off and see how our young panelists tussle over Fight Club.
I was actually extremely young when I saw this movie. It's my mom's favorite movie. I don't know why, but she said she took me to the theater to watch it. I was 4 years old. I don't remember that, and I don't know how you could get a 4-year-old into the Fight Club theater, but I remember thinking, this is boring as a child. Like, what is going on? I don't get this. But watching it this time, I really enjoyed it, and having the end spoiled, I watched it with like an interesting lens.
Oh,
but I really loved it.
Very interesting. We'll talk a little more about the twist as we get into this, but I actually had the twist spoiled for me by the New York Times.
No.
The first weekend it came out, that Sunday, they published an article, a think piece about how terrible the movie was. They revealed the ending, and I went to see the movie in the middle of the week with a friend, and it actually did not diminish my pleasure, because it's so interesting to watch, even knowing what happens. So I think repeat viewings definitely work with this one. Olive, how about you?
Yeah, so I had seen it also when I was young, not as young, but I believe I was 15. And I just remember being bored and being like, this is just a bunch of men fighting. I was totally like not comprehending it as it's meant to be. And then I remember I didn't have the twist spoiled for me, but I was told that there was a big twist. And I remember guessing it. Needless to say, I did not love it at the time, but I had a very different experience this watch around.
I was a kid and I just didn't get it. I was like, what is so good? This is a boring movie. I don't understand what's so good about it. And little did my young 12-year-old innocent mind know that it was actually one of the greatest movies to have ever been made. And I rewatched it again when I was in the military, of all things. And I was like, this movie is fantastic. I straight up just thought it was going to be boring. So my friends were like starting to get into it and I was just drinking, doing my thing. But I kept doing the whole like peeking over my shoulder, like looking over the couch. I'm like, what is going on? And I just got sucked into it. And I fell in love with the movie then. And then when I got into film, like that just made it even better. All the meticulous effort that every single department put into it.
Guy, what about you?
It was like starting to be like a cult classic when it came across my lap. People would be like, oh, you haven't seen Fight Club? I was like, no, I haven't seen Fight Club. And then when I was in the Navy and me and a buddy of mine, we watched it after a long night of drinking and it just really hit. It was confusing and it was easy to get on board and, you know, everything was like heightened. The sad parts were really sad and the fight scenes were really intense. And like at the very end, it was just like, whoa, mind blowing. And that was the first time that I heard that song by the Pixies, which was like the first song that I tried to play on electric guitar.
Oh, wow. Wow. What is it? Where is my mind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask a question. What do you guys think is the genre of this movie?
Romantic comedy. I'm just kidding.
I think there's something to that. I don't think it's not totally a joke at all.
Yeah.
That's not wrong.
It's definitely comedy. That's right there because it's very funny.
How about if we called it a transgressive comedy? Is that a genre?
It is now. You just coined it, baby. There you
But
go.
it's kind of a psychological thriller, too. It's,
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
doing that
Because
way.
like,
I'll tell him on that, yeah.
Also an action film, and to me it's social commentary, so maybe with the comedy you could call it a satire.
yeah, there you go.
You guys have hit everything on my list except for coming of age story.
Oh, it is. It is a coming of age story. Dang.
I think
Right?
so. I think
Dude,
so, too,
layers
yeah.
to this.
And I got one more. Rock and roll movie. Is that a genre?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the
Definitely.
score just really just
Yeah.
From the
slaps
jump.
throughout the entire movie. Everything. Like the favorite bits of music in this film come consecutive, right? When they go off on those little missions to lose those fights, that music score there, and then when the narrator goes on his mission, that piece of music is just really intense, and the way that it fits with the edit and everything is just phenomenal.
I agree, man. I think it's one of those like first movies to really sell the emotion of the scene.
I don't know about first. I'll give you that it's really amazing at that. I've read that David Fincher told the Dust Brothers, who did the score, that he wants it to be as cool as the score for The Graduate. And they say that's the only instruction he gave them the entire time.
Wow.
That's so interesting because it's like such a different movie and soundtrack, but that sort of assignment and like that level of effectiveness, that's such a like creative description.
I think it kind of goes with the incredible use of the camera and the editing in the movie too, which brings me to a question I sometimes ask when we're starting off. I think it's appropriate here. Anybody have a particular favorite scene?
Anything with Marla for me. I love her. I just love Helena Bonham Carter so much.
I don't think I've ever seen her in anything other than Harry Potter, which is crazy.
I
'cause
know.
I love her so much from that.
I
and it was so
know.
fun to
She
watch
used to
her.
do like
I
these,
wish she
like,
was in more.
She would do Merchant Ivory movies, like, you know, she would be in,
A Room with a View and Howard's End and stuff like that.
Wings of the Dove. She was really good.
Yeah.
Which is not Merchant
Like
Ivory, but
period
adjacent.
pieces or okay.
Right, and that's how I knew her. So, I'd seen her in these proper English drawing room 19th century movies, and it was so great to see her do this part.
She's so stunning.
Favorite Marla scene?
My favorite shot of her is obviously the one where she's smoking in the testicular cancer meeting.
She's in a cancer meeting smoking like a chimney.
But I really loved when, I think it's the first time she sleeps over and the narrator is being such an asshole to her and then she just storms off. But just everything about her when she's like weaving through traffic, not even weaving, just elegantly not getting hit by any buses or anything. Everything she does, I love her.
Not caring. It's almost like daring the bus, like, go ahead, hit me.
Please hit me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a lot of cool stuff that happens. The sequence, like when he blackmails his boss, is the one that I really feel the most connected to. And then the fights. Oh, the beatdown of Jared Leto. You know, that's
I like
always really
that
pretty
also.
cool.
Yeah, I don't like that guy.
Yeah, for real. I really root for the other dude whenever that moment's happening. I'm like, yeah, poor Jared Leto.
I believe they had to reshoot that because it was considered too violent, and they moved it so that he gets beaten more below the frame, which Fincher said in the commentary I listened to was actually more effective because your mind makes it worse.
I loved his bruising after. He looked so like sci-fi almost. It looked like some evil villain. It was really cool looking.
I don't know if it would be my favorite, but something that I really enjoyed that stood out to me was the beginning and the way it depicted chronic loneliness and capitalism and how that just leads to this like monotony of life where every day's the same and you're miserable and you become your possessions, and the whole IKEA furniture thing was so good. And it being now 25 years ago, like it felt really, really relevant and relatable.
Well, congratulations. You've now graduated from college and you can enter that working world. Christian, what about you?
It's the end for me, man. When the buildings start exploding and they just kind of, what else can you do, right? They just kind of accept that it's happening. And it's almost like they're looking at this new horizon of sorts for them, right? Because like that's right after the moment where Edward Norton's character has his big change.
Do you think that means something particular? Like why is it different? Do you think there's a reason?
Yes. I think because it's so anti-establishment, right? To see it actually succeed in taking the establishment down.
That like it looks like Century City is blowing up. And and then it just seems like, can this be real? So Marla is there because his goons have brought her in. And then she notices that he's shot himself in the head. Part of his brain is basically gone. And the part of the brain that's gone is apparently Tyler Durden because Tyler's disappeared, right? So he's shot Tyler like out of his head. And so, okay, this is a metaphor. And then they have the first moment where she says, oh my God, what happened to you? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. And they talk to each other like people and they look each other in the eye. It's like the first time in the whole film. And they're alone in the room. And it's like the first human moment I think they've had. And she touches him nicely. And then all of a sudden it goes boom. And all those buildings come tumbling down right at that moment when she touches him. And so my new interpretation is that he has finally figured out how to relate to another human being. And more than that, to somebody he could love.
Interesting.
And the whole world is just gone to him. You can deal with this symbol any way you want, but basically this is the end of that whole construct of, oh my God, I've got to like fight the world. It's just, he's going to be with her now. He's healed.
So it's kind of like the buildings are the old ego, the old self that's been destroyed finally. So one of my questions was, is this a classic Hollywood love conquers all ending? And if so, does that negate the rest of the movie, or are we relieved and happy that it ends this way and we forgive the movie? I mean, did the movie go soft or not?
Doesn't feel
I don't think
soft.
it goes. Yeah, I don't think it goes soft. I like that message, but I interpreted the ending differently. I thought they died. I thought they're both dead, and this is like the afterlife. And maybe it took his whole life for him to learn how to relate to another person, but it was too late.
I wouldn't put it the love conquers all because I don't think any of their problems are solved.
True.
I just think for him, it's a step out of complete childhood into like the girl he has the crush on. At least now he can talk to her. He doesn't have to just like punch her, you know, and mistreat her.
I mean, one way to look at the movie is it's about a guy who doesn't have a normative sexuality towards women. You know, he's like Marla, and I'm just at the man's club and I don't want any women around. It's like boys club, don't let them in, you know, the treehouse, right?
It's like a 9-year-old.
Yeah, he calls himself a 30-year-old boy at one point.
All of these can be reductive, right? But there's so much in the movie that you can see it from different angles.
I don't think that he's so misogynistic against women. I just think that Marla came into his space and made him see how phony and fucked up he was as a person.
But he couldn't
when people
take
call you, when people call you on your bullshit, you don't tend to, I don't like it when people call me on my bullshit. So,
well, that brings up a question I have for you guys. One of the things that's really odd in the movie is how he meditates, the narrator, and goes to this underground ice cave. And there's a talking penguin. The first time the penguin just kind of takes off, and I'm like, it's the penguin. Tyler, what's the penguin? And then at some point, Marla actually shows up in the cave. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Anyone want to explain that to me?
I honestly forgot about that until right now.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what I was trying to say. Like, she invades his space. He goes to the meetings to find peace, to turn off. But, this individual comes into your life and kind of messes it up, which is what people do. People come into your lives, and good or bad, they change you,
I have a question. It's kind of plot related. How much do you all think Marla knows about Tyler's plans to tear down the city? And
I thought Marla was in the dark the whole entire time.
I think she noticed certain things, but chose to ignore it. You know what I mean? Like, she goes to that gross ass fucking house. Oh, sorry. She goes to that gross ass freaking house.
She spends the night and has a lot of sex there. Like,
she is in the environment and she is choosing to ignore it just to be with a homeboy.
I think it just goes to show how rock bottom Marla was. You know what I'm saying? Not to tell too much about my life, but I've had girls not want to spend the night over at my place because of what my bathroom looked like. When I was coming up, learning how to be a dude, I didn't know bathrooms were that important. Can you imagine what that dude's bathroom looked like? What their bathroom was? And Marla was all about that. You know what I'm saying? She was like,
I was like, how is she in this house right now?
But then again, though, maybe she didn't go to the bathroom knowing that it was that gross, because she did wash her mouth out in the sink.
Oh my God.
Gross.
Greatest production design ever.
Question for the council here. Would you guys go into the house?
Oh, I would.
Would you guys?
I wouldn't live there, but I would go in.
You've been in that house?
I was in that house.
As a woman, no.
I've been there. I'd go in there.
Man, I don't know.
I'm with some friends. I don't know.
Yeah. When I saw the movie the first time, it was in San Francisco. I went with a buddy of mine. I think there were 4 warehouses next to each other, and they were all essentially co-ops with their own ecosystems. His had a huge fireman's pole in the middle to get from the second floor to the first floor. And
the exterior of that house, reminds me of like houses in the 80s in the middle of the industrial section of LA, which I think is where they shot that. And they look just like that. I've been inside. So, to me, whether you go inside that house or not just depends how big it is inside. If it's like huge and it's really gross, it's kind of bearable. If it's tiny and it's like one room and it's that gross, you just can't, you don't want to go in.
Yeah, where you got to like shuffle and you might touch something. Gross.
All right, I want to switch gears a little bit. And I think this movie gets misunderstood different ways. So my question is, what is this movie ultimately saying about masculinity? And I'll go even further and say, what about even male masochism?
Well, what about male sadism too, if we're going to go there?
True. Well, except that everything that happens to Ed Norton, he does to himself.
Yeah, so there's both.
Because he feels so much societal pressure, I think, to show like what a man is. And I really like this film because it shows that toxic masculinity is toxic for men too, not just because it puts women in an awkward place, or more than awkward most of the time. But it really harms men mentally and physically. So I liked that it had that message.
Do you think the movie is ultimately favoring fight clubs, or is telling you watch the hell out for fight clubs?
I definitely watch the hell out, because like I've been in groups like that where dudes are just men. We don't talk about our feelings. We don't cry. We drink and we fight and we hump.
What are feelings?
Exactly. Like, and this is not now, because luckily it wasn't a common thing to be around people like that. But when I was in the military, I mean, it's like a giant, I'd say the Marine Corps is like a gang, just legal gang, because we're all just a bunch of really aggressive guys and women and like just people that like, okay, you can probably handle a gun really well. Here, go to join the Marine Corps, right? And you have all this masculinity and you have all this fucking testosterone just flowing, right? Because we're warriors, we're fighters. We got to do it.
I think that it was so effective, the way that this movie showcased what lengths that men had to go to in order to either like tap into their emotions or release their emotions, like the whole support group thing, getting addicted to going to support groups. That's so funny and dark and twisted. That's the only way this man can sleep at night, is if he can do this really weird thing. And then the alternative for that, beating the shit out of strangers. So it's like, I interpret it as what men have to go to be able to be emotive at all.
I'm so happy I'm not a man.
It's not a healthy space to be in, right? That's not the way you handle being a man.
Yeah, it's not real masculinity.
Exactly. That's not where it comes from. That's not that you.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
I'm hesitant to use the phrase toxic masculinity. Masculinity is masculinity, but it's all about how the individual uses it, right? Just because you're having a physical altercation with another person doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. It's how you go out there and how you leave the situation afterward. Until they started wreaking havoc in the city, I think that the things that are going through weren't that bad.
Interesting.
Except for getting in your face, beat the shit. That's kind of bad. But, having sparring between two people, I don't think is not that bad.
Yeah, but you're talking more about like the occasional, I'm in a situation where I now have to fight. Whereas these homies in the movie are using that as the only...
Their therapy.
Like therapy, rather than just like, sure, like I personally, I'm a pacifist. I don't like fighting. I would much rather roll you a joint and then talk about it. But like, if I have to fight, I'll have to fight. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like therapy for me. I'm like, this is a result of a situation that has gotten out of hand.
Well, I want to say that one of my favorite scenes in the movie always is the first time they assemble the Fight Club together and Tyler, Brad Pitt, starts with the rules. And the camera is moving around him. It's really exciting. And the funniest thing, the thing that gets you, is the first two rules of Fight Club are the same. First rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. The second rule of Fight Club, do not talk about Fight Club. And then it starts getting into rules that actually kind of make sense. Like if somebody taps out, you stop the fight. And then it ends with, if this is your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight. And that's one of the things I think is amazing about the movie, is as much as it's telling you this toxic masculinity or wherever lengths they take it to is kind of awful, there's a big thrill when that starts up. And that's what we came to see. That's why we came to see a movie called Fight Club. We're waiting for it to happen. And they don't stint on that.
There's an extent which Grace touched on. She said, I'm glad I'm not a man. I mean, these men are victims too. The men in the movie have been emasculated. I mean, let's talk about the narrator. Nobody cares what he thinks or what he does. He finds himself shopping as his main thing. And men were maybe designed to like hunt and to, they weren't designed to shop necessarily. But this is the culture we live in, where, if you want a woman, you're not going to impress her with your hunting prowess. You're going to impress her with your coffee table and your cool decor.
He's raised by his mother too, right? Where he says his father went away.
They talk about a generation of middle children with no dads. And that's something that all these men are having to compensate for. They're trying to deal with, at least they perceive as a kind of victimhood.
And beyond that, they're also sort of like dehumanized too, because women weren't really designed to shop either. I mean, just the modern society that they're talking about is what's causing them to feel so isolated. And it just happens to be from like a male point of view.
We'll be right back with more Fight Club.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When kids don't play, they grow up without creativity. They'll try to blend in and wear chinos, or worse, polyester chinos. Good thing Gushers, Fruit by the Foot, and Fruit Roll-Ups are made to be played with. You better be playing.
So do you guys think that the critique of society that's presented in the movie is legit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even more so today, and it's really terrifying that it hasn't gotten any better.
So.
Well, I don't think much has changed.
I think it's a little overstated. Of course, well, look, it's really easy to be critical of capitalism.
So you're against Tyler blowing up all the buildings that have the credit information?
Yeah, because it's not going to solve anything. And I think the movie's pretty clear in showing that blowing up buildings isn't going to solve any problems.
Yeah, find a balance between anarchy and capitalism, I guess.
Well, let me take it to another level, which is the more psychological. So, huge theme of this movie. I can't think of another movie that's as strong on the idea of disassociation. Question, is this a Gen X film?
I think so.
Absolutely a Gen X movie.
On the topic of dissociation, like for me, I've experienced that as a way to survive capitalism, especially when it relates to technology and this constant overwhelm of images and information that is like really hard to manage throughout the day, and to focus on what you have to do and to prioritize what you care about and to like maintain joy when you're constantly seeing all the terrible, maybe this is just me, I don't think it's just me, but when you're constantly seeing all the terrible things in the world, like you have to separate and compartmentalize in your brain to go to work, to cook dinner, to do what you have to do to survive. So I think that's an interesting part of the film and part of our daily lives.
It happens every single day here, right? First thing we do is we wake up and reach for our phone. You know what I mean?
That's not I don't do that.
Yeah, but you're old.
I'm lying. I do. I pick up my phone.
So people are learning how to communicate in this fake world where you're supposed to be social. So when the real world happens, people panic. You can't call anyone that's under the age of 30. Hell, even 30. Anyone 30 and down, you call them on the phone, they get a panic attack.
Not me.
You know what I mean?
I don't think that the world has changed that much during that time. I mean, yeah, the internet blew up, Facebook and Instagram, but as far as the plight of the average male and female during those times, life hasn't really warped. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the problems of the people in the 90s are so different than the problems of the people today.
Do you see any of the filmmakers we've talked about in the past represented in this movie as influences?
I'd say Hitchcock, maybe?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's
isn't
right.
Psycho about somebody who has a split personality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about a little Full Metal Jacket in terms of the masculinity and the way that that's shot? Little Stanley Kubrick?
So funny you bring those up. So David Fincher has talked about his favorite directors. And he says his biggest influences as directors are Hitchcock, Kubrick, Scorsese, Alan Pakula, and Ridley Scott. That's what he says. I see a lot of David Lynch, particularly in the way he uses sound.
So Alan Pakula was known for making some of the best political paranoia movies of the 1970s. All the President's Men is probably his most famous, but The Parallax View is one of my favorites, which is essentially about how assassins are being trained by right-wing forces to kill political figures. A lot of visual similarities there. Has anything in this movie dated at all?
Payphones.
Ooh, on the payphone note, really quick interjection. There's this cool video I was watching on YouTube about a bunch of Easter eggs and hidden details in the movie. And like on the payphone where Tyler calls him back, you can see if you look really close, it says like no outgoing calls allowed or something like that.
I saw that.
There's a lot of really cool details in the movie.
Oh yeah, this one's like littered with Easter eggs.
Yeah.
So what'd you guys think of the flash frames? Did you catch them?
One of them.
I know there's 2 flash frames of Tyler Durden before he has that conversation. And then there's a couple other places where Tyler Durden appears, like on the escalator. But my favorite flash frame is at the end of the movie when there's a flash frame of a penis. I don't know if any of you caught it. Just at the end when the buildings are coming down.
One thing that really stood out to me was the color. And I loved the sort of like dull gray blue color going on. And I noticed the flash frame because it was red. And I was like, whoa, it stood out. So I thought the choice to put him in red was also really interesting. And yeah, they use color really well.
David, do you want to talk about the film flashing that they did?
Yeah, the director of photography flashed all the film before they shot it, which washes it out. It gives it less contrast. And that's part of the look. And they have to do a lot of chemical techniques to get that look.
Interesting. And then if you were to mess it up, like, does that ruin the film?
So flashing film involves exposing it to very, very low level of light before you actually start filming. So you expose the film.
The negative.
And it just loses a little bit of its latitude. And if you mess that up and then shoot, you're going to be in big trouble. And, you know, in the days of shooting on film, you don't know what you've gotten until the next day when you see dailies back from the lab.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So you would like not take down sets until you got stuff back from the lab. And I remember back in the day when I was in film school, if somebody had a broken sprocket hole ahead of you in the film bath, because they would basically splice together everybody's negatives for the day, anything that came in. And if somebody had a broken sprocket hole, it could ruin your movie, everything that you had shot.
Jeez.
That sucks.
I would cry.
That's for like the labs we used, but in a Hollywood studio, they check all this and you know, it's less likely to happen.
I'm talking Duart, baby. So
Duart, right.
Here's a question. Could you remake this movie today? And if you did, who would you cast as the narrator, Tyler, and Marla?
Ooh.
I don't know if it could be done. The casting, at least.
It's got to be as beautiful an Adonis as Brad Pitt is so hard.
There's
Brad
nobody.
Pitt is perfect.
Yeah.
Impossible.
I remember that from my childhood for sure.
Every dude wants to be Brad Pitt.
When that movie came out, my dad was telling me that every single guy hit the gym to try and look like him in that movie.
Yeah,
He looks incredible.
They tried not to make him look too pretty. Like, he doesn't look like the way he looks in Thelma and Louise in this. In Thelma and Louise, he's perfect. He's like a calendar model.
Yeah, it's 10 years earlier.
They chipped his teeth. And he's kind of dirty, you know, and that makes him even sexier, I think, in a way, because he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, it's the type of bad boys that some women go for.
Yeah.
And some dudes.
One of my favorite scenes is when Ed Norton knocks on the door and Brad Pitt opens it and he's wearing those Playtex gloves.
Oh, yeah.
And Marla's tumbling off the bed in the background.
Hilarious.
So throughout the filming, Ed Norton starved himself, so he gets skinnier and skinnier and scrawnier and scrawnier. And Brad Pitt worked out every day, so he gets more and more muscular as the film goes on.
I love that.
And they shot as much as they could in real time, so you actually see them like get further and further apart in terms of their shape.
Okay, now do we have anybody for Marla who's currently, I mean, are we talking Zendaya for Marla? No?
No.
Did Jennifer Lawrence do it?
No.
I thought about her too.
No. Has anyone seen Mayor of Kingstown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The girl from Mayor of Kingstown, Emma Laird?
Emma Laird. Look-wise?
I think she could pull off that look. I think she'll be great. But I can't place a Tyler Durden. I don't see anybody. Maybe like a rapper, like I don't know, 21 Savage, or someone like really eccentric. Something like that might be cool.
I would pay a lot to see this movie remade with 21 Savage.
Well, can he act? Does he have any? Because Kid Cudi wouldn't work. You wouldn't want to see
Donald Glover.
Charles
maybe
Gambino.
Could do it. No, you don't.
No,
think so?
Donald's way too polished,
and he's too skinny,
way too cool, way too suave to be a rugged individual like that.
I like the idea of going mixed race on it, though. But what about Jodie Comer for Marla? Jodie Comer. Anyone know her? British actress. She did Killing Eve. She's
interesting choice.
Happening.
Oh yeah, hey guy, I got a question for you, Guy. How many black folk in Fight Club?
Oh, okay. So there was 4 I can count off the top of my head, but I wasn't really counting in this one. But there's 4, and that's all you can ask. Movie. That's all you can ask for Hollywood.
In 99,
yeah. In
90s, in the 90s, yeah, that's plenty. Oh no, wait, it's not plenty, but
enough for them.
It's enough for me to move on.
Wait. I've got Tyler Durden. Obvious choice. Michael Jordan.
No.
Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah.
No way.
Michael B. Jordan, yeah.
Well, hold on, wait.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan, it works.
Think about Killmonger.
Yeah.
Hold on.
He's too kind looking.
Nah,
Did you
dude,
see
he can
Black
play
Panther?
a freaking mean ass dude.
Think Adonis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I can see it.
Yeah, and he's got his own swagger too that he'll bring to this character.
David, you're the only person I haven't asked yet favorite scene.
I just love when the narrator buries his face in Meatloaf's bosom.
I believe the proper term was bitch tits.
Whatever. So
You can cut that out later.
great. Yeah, just great.
That reminds me though of something interesting also towards the end, especially was like the cult mentality of it all and how it's just very culty.
He just created like another machine basically that he was trying to fight against. He just made franchises.
Yeah.
Olive brought up a good point, and it made me think about how this movie is used so much in like this internet toxic masculinity stuff.
Incels.
Because like it's almost a full circle thing. It came out, people thought it's just going to promote toxic masculinity and start fight clubs, and then people grew up and realized, oh, it's a lot more about making fun of it rather than actually doing it. And now people are back to, oh, Fight Club, toxic masculinity, hell yeah. It's like it's this interesting kind of go around with this movie.
So I'm going to ask one more question, then I want to get into the research. The big twist. Was it a surprise, or knowing it, how does it work for you?
I liked knowing it and seeing how everyone else interacted with the narrator before we know he's Tyler. I wish I could have seen it without knowing the twist, but I think it adds a really interesting element when you're like rewatching it and you could look back on all the different encounters with everybody. There's two experiences, just seeing it for the first time without knowing, and then when you see it again and you see the buildups, because the building blocks are there from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many hints.
When you know it's coming, then it's a completely different movie damn near with the experience, right?
Yeah.
There's something about knowing the big twist before the story starts, because then the whole time you're like, when is it coming? When is it coming? When is it going to happen? You know? So you get so lost in this world trying to find that moment.
Suspense.
That when it does happen, that payoff is so satisfying. Because you're like, yes, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
When the bartender calls him Mr. Durden, right?
Mm-hmm.
It forces you to watch more critically too and just pay deeper attention.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what bothered me at the twist, and I want to know if it bothers anyone. Where are all these dudes coming from? I mean, are these really, really stupid dudes? They're showing up and just going in for Project Mayhem.
Have you been around a bunch of military people?
I understand. I understand. You set up a fight club, and there's people that are going to want to show up and fight. I get that.
What about the Proud Boys?
But they're not just fighting. They're like polishing his shoes, and they're running his errands. And then you get the twist, and you find out there isn't even a Tyler Durden. There's just this schlub, the narrator, and they're doing it all for that guy.
Yeah. It's so much more believable if Brad Pitt is the cult leader. It's like Edward Norton.
I totally disagree. I disagree. I think that the fact that he's nuts and different and crazy enough to bring everybody together to do this thing that they like so much, which is beating up on each other. You know, it's easy to take those guys to that next level, I think. I'm not saying that every male is going to go.
But you can get 20 in a city like Los Angeles.
I mean, look at all of Andrew Tate's followers, you know? Like, how does that happen?
I think it's important to also note, again, the relationship to, like, emotions and the fact that, like, this is a lot of these men's, probably all of them, their only chance to have any sort of, like, genuine expression. So that's why it was able to make sense to me and, like, almost work well. Is like, that's how desperate these men are.
Exactly. It's finding that place where they do fit in, where they're like, oh, this is where I feel my most self. They're going to defend that place until the end of time or until they like grow up.
Tribal behavior.
Yeah, tribal behavior. Exactly. There's a reason men connect better when they're watching a sport.
Well, I want to ask Grace something too. I get what you're saying about Brad Pitt being so impressive, you know, physically and such. But how about when you see those flashbacks to Ed Norton
physically impressive,
doing those things that Brad Pitt was doing, like fighting Jared Leto coming up with the bloody mouth and all this.
Yeah.
Looking kind of buff. Do you feel like that version of Ed Norton would sell it?
Yes, because he was in such a scary, dark place. Like, we don't even really see him as Tyler Durden. We see Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden, and we can just assume Ed Norton was doing those things exactly as he was doing. But for me, I really don't know. Like, I can't imagine Ed Norton actually being that way. And if he was, he would be more disturbing almost.
Yeah.
Because he's tapping into someone who's not him whatsoever. So I can definitely see how he can, like, maybe intimidate some people. I think I was mostly just really sad that Tyler Durden wasn't real.
Well, it's kind of interesting, right?
And Ed Norton is tapping into some part of himself that he's never gotten to show, but clearly he's got Tyler Durden in him, or he wouldn't have created him.
Yeah. And a part of me is also wondering, I wish Jake was here for this, like, there are some, like, homoerotic things. Like, is this his dream man?
Yes.
You know?
I was thinking about that.
Is this who he wants to be, or is this who he wants to be with? Because he doesn't treat women that well either.
Fair enough.
I agree about this overtones. I mean, especially when they get the assignment to go out, start a fight and lose it. And like with a priest, I mean, these things are homoerotic kind of like fantasy sequences a little bit, right?
I like the scene where he's in the tub.
Yeah.
Talking to him about maybe another woman is not what we need. That is a little on the nose.
Definitely.
Agreed. I will tell you, there was a guy that I worked for who told me in college for charity, he was part of a group of guys that did a boxing exhibition. And so they spent about 2 months training. And he told me that by the time they got to the fight, he felt like Superman. Like he would walk into a bar. He felt tougher, stronger, more attractive than he ever had in his entire life. He said he's never had a feeling like that before or since.
Wow.
Okay, on that note, let's go into some of the research that people did over here. Grace, what did you cover?
I covered the making of. I'm sure you guys all know that this film was based off the Chuck Palahniuk novel, but I learned that he wrote that story because he was inspired by when he went camping. He like asked his neighbors to keep it down or something, and they just beat the crap out of him instead. And he went to work the next Monday, and nobody even asked him why he had these bruises or anything. And it just really made him think like, wow, if you're doing dark stuff, nobody wants to hear about that. So he was really inspired by that. Palahniuk actually praised the movie and said he kind of felt a little embarrassed because they did a much better job, he thought.
I read the book after the movie came out and I saw it, and it's so close to the book. I mean, I don't remember differences.
The budget ended up being $63 million. Filming took 138 days, and then the opening weekend, I think it only grossed $11 million, which was a disappointment. The studio was expecting more. But DVD sales turned it into a cult classic because I think it sold over 55 million. So that just kind of made it what it is now.
Right. So like Grace said, it wasn't like a box office smash. It was like number 56 of that year. Number 1 being Phantom Menace. Number 2, Sixth Sense. Number 5, The Matrix. However, now IMDb ranks Fight Club as the number 13 movie as of now, right? So number 1 being Shawshank, number 2 being The Godfather, number 3 Dark Knight, number 13 is Fight Club. And then if you go to the Letterboxd app, you guys know about Letterboxd?
Love Letterboxd. Yep.
Letterboxd listed Fight Club as the most popular movie before 2010. And the only other movie that's on that list is Pulp Fiction.
Wow. David, as always, you'll give us a little background on the director, David Fincher.
All right. So he started in post-production as a teenager and ended up at ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, run by George Lucas. And then he left to make this TV commercial that became pretty notorious for the American Cancer Society that showed a fetus smoking a cigarette. He was a good commercial and music video director. He co-founded Propaganda Films, a lot of great rock video and commercial directors there. You know, Michael Bay, Spike Jonze, Antoine Fuqua, a bunch of others. And he himself directed Michael Jackson and Madonna videos and made a big name for himself that way. And so he wanted to do features In 1990, he got his chance when he was hired to replace Vincent Ward as director of Alien 3. Fincher hated the final film and he disowned it, and he still calls his next film his first film, which was Seven with Brad Pitt. Morgan Freeman, Gwyneth Paltrow, Christian's favorite actor R. Lee Ermey, and Kevin Spacey. And that was a huge critical and commercial hit. So he got a bigger budget for his next film, which is the mystery thriller The Game, 1997, which was not a big moneymaker, but I think it's a really fun film. Mark doesn't love it. I really do. And Fight Club was next. Some of his favorite films are Rear Window, Lawrence of Arabia, The Graduate, which has come up, Paper Moon, American Graffiti, Jaws, All the President's Men, Taxi Driver, and Woody Allen's Zelig. And so a lot of these films are coming up on Film Generations. One thing I think he's quite amazing at is he very often makes films with really unlikable characters, and he forces you to identify with these characters, even though they're unlikable, using some techniques that have to do with camera. I think one of them is he'll follow the character really closely. You know, the kind of cadence and rhythm of the character will be mimicked by the camera. The way that David Lynch had Alan Splett, Fincher has Ren Kleiss, who Fincher credits as a sound designer that's a storyteller. He has a way of blending sound effects with mood and music. And very often you'll hear a machine kind of in the background, and just without you noticing it, it'll morph subliminally into some kind of menacing music. There'll be like extra reverb during these corporate meetings, for instance, you know, to emphasize the kind of empty power of the boardroom. He uses the microphone almost the way he uses a camera lens. You know, like you'll hear the footsteps of the main character, they'll be highlighted. It's almost like doing a close-up with a camera. The microphone will almost do a close-up in that way. And he is really a master at bringing all the departments together: makeup, production design, the camera, color timing, just so much, working with the actors. So he's very much an auteur who, besides directing everything to work together, he does what the most important job of a director is, which is direct the audience. You direct the audience's attention where you want it. You direct the audience to feel the way you want them to feel, and he's a master of it. And it shows up in all of his films, good or bad. Not all his films are great, but they're all skillfully made.
I mean, think about that track record: Social Network, Gone Girl, Zodiac, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Panic Room. I mean, this guy's got game.
Yep. Seven.
We'll be right back with our ratings and recommendations for Fight Club.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
On top of building this fake volcano for months, I give my daughter Smarty Pants vitamins to support her brain health. So her science fair project sounds more like and less like. And while I may say it's not a competition, of course it's a f***ing competition. Choose Smarty Pants vitamins to support your kid's brain health and save the science fair. Shop on Amazon, smartypantsvitamins.com, or at Target today.
All right. It's time for us to do our recommendations and ratings. As a reminder, I'm going to ask you who you might recommend this movie to, if anyone, and also on a star system scale of 1 to 4, how would you rate it? 4 has to be so good you'd put it on your top, let's say, 50 list. That's an A+. 3.5 stars is an A. 3 stars is an A minus, and we get to the Bs. 2.5 stars is a B plus. 2 stars is a B minus because there's no in between on B movies. And I'm going to start with Christian on this one.
Definitely 4 stars. Phenomenal movie. I think the person that I would recommend this to would be, I don't know, she's probably seen it because she's a cinephile. But my grandma, of all people. I would recommend this to my grandma. Like, I think she would really enjoy this movie because, like I said, she's a cinephile.
Sounds like a cool lady.
Oh, she's phenomenal. Curses like a sailor.
Olive.
I would recommend this movie to anyone who likes a good twist. And my younger brother, who I discuss / argue with about toxic masculinity and just overall masculinity all the time. So I'd love for him to see it, and I'd also be curious his thoughts and his interpretation of it. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I wouldn't put it in like my favorite of all time, but it's on the brink.
3.5. Guy, how about you? I'm going to have you go next.
All right. So everyone should watch every movie made, good or bad. I don't really know who I would recommend this movie to. I would just look at you weird if you're of a certain age and hadn't seen it yet.
You would judge them.
Yeah, like, seriously, like if you're over 25 and no one's told you to look at Fight Club, you don't have any friends, and you should, try to seek us out, and we'll start recommending movies to you and step up your game.
Yeah, just watch our podcast.
I don't want to give it 4, but I have to give it 4. I mean, like, there weren't any mistakes in this one, in my opinion. Well, I don't want to give out that 4 lightly. I mean, it's a big deal. This movie's awesome. 4 stars.
Grace.
So I would recommend this to anyone who hasn't seen it or doesn't know about the twist somehow. I think it would be really fun to watch it with them and see it from their point of view and maybe get that experience through them somehow, because I never got it. But that just goes to show like how embedded it is in the zeitgeist, because I think even if people haven't seen it, they know who Tyler Durden is, And I feel like that's also why I feel like I've seen it so many more times, because it's just like in memes, it's all over the internet. People know Fight Club, even if they haven't really seen it. And for that reason, I think I also have to give it 4 stars. I was really hesitant. I wanted to do 3.5, but I think it is just a perfect movie.
David, what about you?
It squeaks into 4 for me. It's my favorite David Fincher movie. He's a very good director. The movie is just really rich. It's well made. It's exciting. It's got a great twist. It's got a great ending. It's got a great song. It's got great performances. It's got a terrible but therefore great romance. It's funny as hell. It's just got so many good elements. I have to give it a 4. And the one thing, I know we really did touch on it, but I still think we didn't get to plumb what to me is maybe the most interesting thing about it, which is what it says about the pain of that male experience, the confusion of trying to carve your way into this world as a young man. I think there's a lot there, and the movie doesn't give the answers, but it really brings up a lot of great questions. As far as I'd recommend it to somebody over 17, please. Probably under 80, who, can deal with a dark and violent film. I'd say absolutely go for it. There's so many rewards in this film.
I've seen this movie a number of times, and I remember one time seeing it and showing it to my sons, and I think they might have been too young, and it didn't quite play. And so I would really recommend this, first of all, only to adults. And I don't even think 17 is old enough to understand this movie. I think you have to have been in the working place for 15 minutes to understand the disassociation we can feel. So I would say if you're 23 or above, it's probably not a bad age to watch it. 25, even better. And I was trying to figure out what makes this movie so special, what makes it work. And we've talked about all the different aspects of it. I think more than almost any movie I've ever seen, this movie makes you hold a bunch of contradictions in your head when you watch it, especially the second time when you know the twist. When you're watching it and you're thinking, wait, am I watching? Let me think of it as Durden or Ed Norton. And then you have the contradictions of society kind of sucks, but is it right to blow up society? Like, is that right? You know, going to these self-help groups are a good thing, right? But one of the funniest scenes in the entire movie is the woman who has cancer wanting to get laid. And again, it's a contradiction that you just can't hold in your mind for very long. And the contradictions in the movie, they're gleeful. I've never seen a movie that is this fun dealing with such harsh contradictions. High comedy, high drama. The beginning, we talked about what genre is it? It's a big mashup of a lot of other genres, but somehow it holds together. So for that reason, and for the incredible relevance of it that still seems to exist to today, I'm giving it 4 stars as well. So Guy, where does that put us?
I have it at 3.916 repeating. So we're going to round that up to 4 stars.
Nice.
It wouldn't take much to convince me to bump up my score anyway. So I think
somebody had to hold the line.
Yeah, somebody held the line.
Yeah.
I like that. I was so close to 3.5, and then after this time watching, I'm like, give it up.
I was too. It's not perfect, and maybe a 4-star film maybe should be kind of perfect, but it makes up for its lack of perfection by being just so much.
Yeah. And it's being so real and so relevant.
And there's something about it that doesn't feel like it's for me, but I do resonate with it so much.
Right.
So that's why I was hesitant to give it 4, but it is a 4-star.
That's a good point.
For sure.
At least for us girls.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, by being about the pain of being a man, it's about the pain of being a woman, because
definitely
women have to be with men have to be with, people have to be with each other.
It's honestly a film about gender, just in general, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Gender roles.
Yeah.
All right, guys. If you want to watch Fight Club, it is available to rent or buy on Apple TV, Amazon, YouTube, Google Play, and others. Speaking of YouTube, that's where you can find Film Generations with clips and stills, and we're on audio wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you like our show, please tell your friends. Please rate and review the show. Please help others to find us as well. Film Generations is an Electrocast podcast. I'd like to thank our panelists, Grace Chapman, Olive Goldberg, Guy Lewis, and special guest Christian Moreno Aponte, as well as our co-host and producer, David Tauzik. Executive producers are myself, Mark Netter, and Peter Rafelson. Our editor is Marcus Campito. For our next episode, we investigate how a young woman ended up dead and frozen in the French countryside through a series of flashbacks in a film by the most successful female filmmaker to come out of the French New Wave. It's Agnes Varda's 1985 Vagabond. Will our young panelists empathize with the troubled title character, or just leave her to the elements? Find out here, only on Film Generations.
Electrocast.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Peter.
We're the founders of Electrocast Media, bringing you great podcasts like Nightmare Road Stories, Tech Talk Revolution, and Bodacious Minds.
Electrocast networks include Ruby for female empowerment, the Best Business Network, and GPN for geopolitics. We built this company to create community and amplify diverse voices, and we really appreciate your support.
So, keep listening to Electrocast podcasts and hear the culture.
Electrocast.
You deserve better healthcare, and so do we all. Medicine in America is a podcast that shares real stories of patients and doctors reshaping the future, because the revolution in care isn't coming, it's already here. Real stories, real change, a better future for healthcare.
Electrocast.